Taylor sums up the movie perfectly when she is encouraged by her mother to join a team, and instead what she does is sort of tag along with a adolescent girls basketball team. She looks at Josh and she says, "It's weird." Yep, that describes the entire movie. Hey guys, it's Bea, welcome to my channel, and today we're talking about the movie Don't Forget I Love You, which is sort of ironic because I actually forgot about the title already. I just finished the movie yesterday. In these videos, I love to do a quick recap followed by whether or not the movie met our winter wishes, then we talk about the romance, we talk about the scenes that make us cringe or moan. I'm also going to give this movie a rating and a ranking. This movie is about a woman named Taylor. At first you think Taylor has it all together, but then you realize quickly that really she's just a ball of anxiety who's holding her life together by overstructuring it. Overstructuring, is that a word? Anyway, on her 30th birthday, she is given a gift by her dad. She digs up something in the backyard and it's a time capsule that contains 6 challenges given to her by her late mother. These challenges are meant to get Taylor out of her comfort zone and hopefully to get her to meet the love of her life. Taylor chooses to meet her challenges with someone who looks like the boy next door, only he's the boy across the street. His name is Josh and he's played by Clayton James. Josh has a daughter named Chloe. The director probably gave Chloe the direction of act anxious, but when we first meet her, she goes full, "Help me, I've been kidnapped and forced to play with this dollhouse." Josh appears to be something of a player. We find an engagement ring that he has meant for someone else, and he was going to ask this other woman, Sarah, to marry him. His wife passed away only a year ago, but now he's ready to move on with his late wife's best friend. Whenever Sarah and Taylor are in a scene with Josh, it's extremely awkward, especially after the engagement ring is found. For a lot of the movie, I thought surely this engagement ring couldn't actually be for Sarah, but no, it was. Taylor has to report to her father after each challenge to let him know whether or not she's accomplished the task, which I found a little off-putting. Every single challenge Taylor gets, she immediately interprets in a very strange way, and then it becomes cute later, especially when she teams up with Josh for each challenge. There's a scene in which Taylor says, "It's weird," and yes, I would say that those are the 2 words that describe this movie. In the end, Taylor confesses to Josh in front of a basketball team that she loves him, and he replies that he does indeed love her back. It's too soon, and I don't know why they did it. In any case, they kiss, and then they go on a lovely picnic with his daughter, and the movie is over. So let's talk about whether or not the movie met our winter wishes. No, not at all. I was admiring the red Japanese maples that I saw throughout the film, and I thought, well, yeah, this is not winter at all. This is a rom-com, so let's talk about the romance. I thought that there were some really cute scenes. When they're making sushi together, there was a scene where she has to touch his hand and then she gets rice in her hair, which I figured he was gonna take out, but he didn't. In any case, it was really cute, and when they did goat yoga, that was adorable. I don't know that I would say it was romantic per se, and of course the declaration at the end was sort of romantic except for the fact that it was in front of a basketball team and they were all staring on, and I just thought, what might those people be thinking right now? Okay, so if you've seen my videos before, you know how I like to pretend the com in rom-com stands for cringe or moan. So let's talk about that, and man, do I have a lot to say. Let me start with the fact that I think that Taylor is obsessed with organization because the poor thing could not find her birth certificate for many years, probably. Why can't she find her birth certificate? Well, her mother buried it in the backyard. Lady, your daughter's gonna need her birth certificate. Don't bury it in the backyard. One of the many things that Taylor does where I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so weird. One of the first challenges is to meet someone new. So Taylor goes and tries to introduce herself to a coffee shop employee that she's had 0 interest in for probably years, I suppose. And then she takes a picture of her. And the coffee shop employee just sort of shakes her head. But in the next scene, you see Taylor in her home and someone's knocking at the door, and I'm thinking, it's the police. The coffee shop employee thought, that lady just took a random picture of me without my permission, and I think I might need some help. I mentioned this before, but I thought it was so funny how Chloe is definitely supposed to be playing the anxious daughter. And like I said, she went full, help me, I've been abducted, someone's making me play with this dollhouse, I'm really scared right now. It was way over the top to the point where I was like, have I stepped into the wrong movie? Am I actually on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries right now? And this is like Taylor, she finds this poor child that's been kidnapped or something, and this is the killer slash kidnapper. I was so confused. Speaking of the title, Don't Forget I Love You, I couldn't help but think, well, maybe that is when Taylor is speaking to her employee. Please do not tell your employees that you love them. It is awkward. So let's start talking about the rating, shall we? There's a lot to say again for this part. I was thinking for a lot of the movie that I would give it 1 to no snowflakes, because in the beginning I really felt like the dad was so like magnanimous, like, come report back to me, take a picture, and I'm gonna sit here and judge whether or not you met this challenge. And she's an adult woman. Why does she have to jump through hoops? It just didn't feel right to me. Also, you know, again, like the way she interpreted some of the challenges was so strange, like to do something that scares you and then she's thinking it has to do with killing a spider, and that was kind of funny and cute, but then she and Josh go on this long bridge, and I didn't love watching her be super anxious and nervous. I mean, it just made me feel anxious and nervous for her. And it was funny because initially I thought, oh, I love what she does. I love how she starts out with affirmations and she really seems like she has it all together. But then you realize that she's being painted as this person who's out of control and just hanging on and has to be in her special box, or else she becomes a ball of nerves. And yes, I know that for many of us, including myself, when I get out of my comfort zone, I feel my anxieties. But so I felt like maybe I would give it a snowflake after that. And I have to say, I was also really impressed by the fact that other characters grew. Her employee, whose name I have obviously not bothered to remember, he's now gonna start going on actual dates rather than just doing date type stuff via messaging, which is nice. And Chloe grows as well. She's now comfortable doing presentations, and you can feel her confidence rising and her anxiety decreasing. Obviously, Taylor has become a less anxious person, and I love how in the end of the movie, she's the one saying the affirmations. She's the one who's become confident, and it's like all these I messages, like I'm taking control of my life. And I actually really liked that. I also liked how we find out towards the end that Taylor's mom is the one that initially did these challenges, which is what caused Taylor's mom to meet Taylor's dad. So I really liked that. But one thing I did not like, which kept me from giving more snowflakes to this movie, was just the whole thing with Josh and Sarah. Sarah, the friend of Josh's late wife, Claire. It just seemed so odd to me that he had kind of a girl on the side, and you know that Sarah seemed to hold out hope that Josh was into her. I can't help but think Josh gave her some hints here and there that maybe he would be, and especially if he had an engagement ring for her. Like, I don't know, red flags. Not super excited about Josh if he's like that. Maybe he's fickle, I don't know. It got to a point where when Chloe is calling from a slumber party and she says she's over at somebody's house, I'm thinking, is this a third woman that Josh is stringing along because she's so enamored with Chloe and just wanting to help out, and Josh basically has all these women everywhere who sort of want to mother his daughter, and then he's like dating her and dating her and dating her. I mean, I don't know if that's fair, because Josh really seemed like a sweet guy, but still, it's like, oh my gosh, that whole thing with Sarah was such a big cringe. So this is my long-winded way of saying I give this movie 2 snowflakes. Now let's talk about the rating. Where Your Heart Belongs is at number 2 and Perfect Pairing is at number 1. Both of these movies are staying just where they are, because now coming up in the rear is Don't Forget I Love You. In case you're interested in more content, I have 2 links here. Also, looking forward to Butlers in Love this coming weekend. Hallmark Channel said, are people gonna make fun of us for our movies? Well, let's give them this title, Butlers in Love. They don't care, do they? And I hope you're doing well, and stay warm and cozy.